Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to our Code in Production talk, where we're going to be discussing how to build automate phone calls using Palantir Foundry's Ontology and ElevenLabs voice models. To introduce myself, I'm Alex. I'm from the engineering team at ElevenLabs, and with me on stage.
I'm Helen. I'm a TPM at Palantir.
And I'm Jake. I'm a dev at Palantir.
So throughout this talk, we're going to do kind of three main things. So I'm going to give you first an introduction to who ElevenLabs are and why I'm here. I'm going to give a quick introduction to voice agents and kind of the advent of voice and AI and what that can achieve. And then we're going to talk about we're going to show you how ontology can power deeply powerful and intelligent agents that can interact with users to solve problems through voice and through conversation. So to give you a quick introduction to ElevenLabs, for those that haven't heard of us, so ElevenLabs are an AI research company and audio products company. So we build foundational generative AI models in the audio space with a mission of making content accessible across multiple languages through voice. So we're a relatively young company, like most generative AI companies are. We were founded in 2022, but we've seen kind of great success on the back of our first models and are now used by tens of millions of users and have users at over 50% of all Fortune 500 companies who are using our models to generate voice and other audio artifacts. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you what we do and first talk about it. So I'm going to quickly jump into a demo of our platform. And this is a very ambitious demo from an AV setup perspective. So hopefully everything is working. So what you can see on the screen is the ElevenLabs platform. And it's kind of our first kind of basic building block for working with AI in the audio world. And so this is our text-to-speech interface. So what I can do here is I'm going to show you one of our foundational models that we've built for converting text into voice. And hopefully you'll all agree it sounds pretty human-like. And if you compare it to the kind of the answer machine robots of kind of pre-Gen AI, you'll notice a significant difference. So I'm going to go ahead and answer some text. This is DevCon, so an epic movie trailer voice feels appropriate. And this is one of the voices that we have on our platform that we've generated by working with voice artists. And we're going to generate some audio.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to be here at DevCon. Well, I'm not really here. I'm AI, so I'm not really anywhere. My voice has been generated using one of ElevenLabs' cutting-edge AI models. Notice how epic my voice sounds. I can pause and, Well, I can also speak Spanish. Hola a todos. Puedo hablar muchos idiomas diferentes.
So hopefully you'll agree that sounds pretty good, and there are a few things that go into that. So firstly, our model is able to detect the context of what is being said, as opposed to just having a set of rules for how to say particular words or vowels. So what that means is it can insert pauses where they're appropriate, it can insert breaths where it needs to, and it can pronounce words based on the context, so it can say read or read. It's also able to speak multiple languages and apply the correct kind of intonation and pronunciation for those languages as well. The other thing that's really cool about this is I mentioned that I chose kind of an epic movie trailer voice for this, but actually we have a voice library of over 5,000 different voices available. And those span across different genders, ages, languages, regional dialects, styles. And so what that means is that when you're creating content, for your enterprise or your organization, you can choose a voice that really represents what your intent is. So if you're looking at support use cases, the support voice could sound like somebody that's giving you support from down the road. Your region and kind of exactly what you'd expect. If you're looking at promotional content, you can have a voice that sounds very Hollywood and very polished and very kind of epic movie trailer. And if you're looking at sales, you can have a voice that potentially appeals to the target customers that you're actually looking to sell to. Now, this topic of this talk is about voice agents. So having shown that first building block, these foundational models for doing text-to-speech, I'm sure you're wondering, okay, how do we take that and what might we want to build with that? And so the voice agents are a conclusion that most people will come to. And the idea is, okay, what happens if we take an LLM that I can chat to with a keyboard and apply a voice model to that, so I now can converse with my AI agent. And actually, when the company was first starting, we found that lots of people came to this conclusion. We're trying to build exactly this. But it's very hard for a whole bunch of reasons, which I'll get into in a second. And so one of the things that we've recently launched is our conversational AI product, which makes it very, very easy to take an off-the-shelf LLM, our voices, and our other AI audio models, and combine those to very rapidly create conversational agents. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what that looks like. And we're going to do this, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an agent that I can talk to that's going to help me build something later on at DevCon. So it's basically as simple as coming into our tool, choosing how it's going to greet me, and providing a kind of opening sentence, an opening remark, giving it an LLM system prompt. If I want to, I can pick kind of any of the LLM providers or a fine-tuned LLM that I've kind of have available myself, and then select the all-important voice. And what the ElevenLabs platform does is it stitches together the LLM of choice, our voice models, models for detecting what a user is saying, models for detecting when a user is saying versus when they're finished speaking, models for detecting interruptions and flow handling. And we are able to, basically, with a single click, create a voice agent that I can talk to.
Hi, I'm Eric. It's great to be at DevCon. What are you planning to build?
Hey, Eric. I'm looking to build a voice agent that can teach me how to build voice agents. Hello, can you hear me?
That's an awesome project. I'm excited. Yes, I can hear you now.
So I think what's happening here is that the AV is picking up an echo of what I'm saying, what the laptop as it's saying it. So I'm going to switch over to a video. This is real, but you can play with it later on. But the AV for this is perhaps suffering a little bit.
I understand. It sounds like you're having some audio issues with the recording software.
That's fantastic.
That's a great... Hi, I'm Eric. It's great to be at DevCon. What are you planning to build?
Hi, Eric. I'm planning to build a voice agent.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of voice agents. What kind of voice agent are you building? What's the purpose of it?
I was thinking something for support.
That's a great idea. Support agents can really help customers. What kind of support are you thinking of? Is it for a specific product or service?
I'm just gonna. I think I'm more interested in how to build it. I'm a developer after all.
Of course. It's always good to get a solid understanding of the technology before diving into a project. What are you most curious about? Are you thinking about using a specific platform or programming language?
Yeah, I want to use ElevenLabs conversational AI.
That's a great choice. ElevenLabs is a powerful platform for building conversational...
Can you tell me what are the languages that you have SDKs for the ElevenLabs conversational AI product?
You're right. I got carried away. I'm still learning about all the different tools out there. I'm not familiar with the ElevenLabs conversational AI product or its SDKs. I'm still under development, so I don't have access to that kind of information yet. However, I can help you find the information you need. Do you know where I can find the ElevenLabs documentation? Maybe we can look at their website together.
That's not very useful. Thanks, though.
I understand your frustration. I'm still learning, and I'm not able to help you with that specific question. I'm working on getting better at finding information.
Okay, so what we just saw was a call with the agent. It's actually using exactly the same config. I recorded it just before this talk. And hopefully you'll notice a few things. So firstly, the conversation flow works pretty well. So the agent we've built these models from scratch to really have a low latency, and we've then spent a lot of time in orchestrating the plumbing between them, kind of all of these kind of array of audio models, plus the LLM, it can respond very, very quickly to what I'm saying. You may have also noticed there were a few times where I tried to kind of trick the agent by interrupting it and taking kind of pauses in the middle of my sentences. And actually, the agent is able to kind of react as a human would to those things. So it's able to detect when I take a pause versus finish and ask a question. It's able to stop talking when I interrupt it, and then pick up the conversation without kind of hallucinating that it said the full LLM response and things like this. The other thing you probably noticed is that it wasn't very useful. It wasn't actually able to answer my question. And so one of the things it's no surprise to anybody in this room is that kind of one of the most important things when working with LLMs is you need to be able to give it context on your enterprise, on your product, on your business, so that it can actually be useful and answer queries. And so let's try and kind of go back to the agent, and I'm going to show you kind of one of the solutions that we have for that. So by coming into this config a little bit further down, we have the concept of a knowledge base. So here what we can do is we can actually go and start to feed that agent information about my enterprise, my business, my products, by uploading files or by pointing it to public documentation that it can kind of scrape that information from. So here I'm adding a document from our public docs page. And in fact, to kind of skip the kind of the end product, we've actually done this already. And so this is our in production user documentation for our platform on our website. And you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, we have a widget, which is our conversational AI widget. And so let's go and try having the same conversation I had with my kind of naive 3-sentence off-the-shelf LLM, but now with who we call Alexis, who is currently on our website in production, answering hundreds of user queries every day.
Hi, this is Alexis from ElevenLabs Support. How can I help you today?
Hey, Alexis. I want to create a voice agent using conversational AI. Can you tell me how I do that?
To create a voice agent using ElevenLabs' conversational AI, you can start by exploring our documentation on deploying customized voice agents. This will guide you through setting up your agent, integrating it with various platforms.
A specific question. Do you have a Python SDK?
Yes, ElevenLabs offers a Python SDK for deploying customized interactive voice agents. This SDK will help you build your voice agent efficiently.
That sounds great.
Would you like to
show me how to use it? Can you show me the docs?
I've directed you to the documentation for the Python SDK. There, you'll find detailed instructions on how to use it for creating voice agents. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
No, that's everything. Thanks so much.
Okay, so what you can see here is not only does it have an understanding of our products and kind of what SDKs are available because it's got that knowledge base, it's also able to interact with the user's browser and the client. And some of the things I didn't show you is it's also able to interact with external systems to make API calls during the conversation to fetch real-time information, real-time data. So moving back to the slides, what I showed very quickly was a couple of things. So firstly, I showed you that our AI models for generating voice, how great those sound and how strong a variety of voices there are so that you can use those for whatever content you're trying to create. Secondly, I showed you it's now really, really easy to create AI agents that you can speak to instead of typing or typing with and chatting with via a keyboard. And thirdly, I showed you that those agents are only really useful if they have a context of your product, your enterprise, your use case. I showed you one way of doing that, but of course, there's another way of doing that, which is incredibly powerful, which is what happens if you do take your existing Palantir Foundry ontology, which understands your enterprise holistically, and then combine that with our voice technology in order to create deeply powerful AI agents. And so to talk about how that integration works, I'm going to hand over to Helen.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Cool. So as you guys saw from Alex's demo, voice agents are incredibly powerful, but without the right context, they can fall short in your workflows. And this is where Foundry comes in, able to turn your voice agents into powerful, intelligent assistants by using data-driven insights from the ontology. So imagine there are a few industries that already could benefit from these voice agents. You have You have insurance companies that have mandatory compliance laws where they have to answer their phone calls. You also have workflows in the healthcare industry where it's like patient scheduling workflows and even just general customer service workflows. So traditional non-voice solutions today often fall short and lead to suboptimal user experiences. And while voice agents by themselves can't solve these problems, by having Foundry as the backbone to these voice agents, we can inject the right context from the different industries and domain knowledge, also provide historical context, and also even give feedback so that the voice agent can continuously learn and become more tailored to your specific use case. So because Foundry already houses your operational workflows in its platform, it's a lot easier to extend and add voice agents and voice tech on top of your use cases. So diving a bit deeper into the architecture, we start off with Foundry, which has the context in the ontology, and this is sent over to the ElevenLabs agent so that it's well informed for when it actually has to talk to your users. Foundry also houses your operational workflows and permissions so that all actions taken in your platform are secure. The automations in Foundry are what can actually trigger the phone calls without needing a human in the loop at every step of the way. And this calls out to Twilio that handles the phone call orchestration, which is called from Foundry through a webhook out to Twilio. During the actual phone call, we add the ElevenLabs agent to the call. And again, because it has the ontology context, it's able to answer the users in a useful way. After the phone call finishes, then we can send back the phone call context to Foundry into the ontology for historical record keeping. And also you can use the AIP toolkit and things such as evals to make sure that the voice agent can basically improve over time and become more tailored to your use case. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Jake to show this implementation in action.
Awesome. Thanks, Helen. Let me switch to, so you gotta go to the screen. Sorry. This page. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm going to walk you through a potential use case we're building at Palantir for hospital operations. So every day we see that hospitals lose countless hours to administrative tasks that should be automated. So imagine I work at a hospital and it's my responsibility to make sure that everything is in order for our upcoming procedures. On the left-hand side of my dashboard, you'll see a list of procedures that need my attention. So if we take a look at Anna Grant's upcoming cholesterol tests, and I'll try to zoom in, you'll see that her prior authorization status is still pending. And since this is time sensitive, I'd usually have to call the insurance provider myself and sit on hold for what feels like forever just to get a simple approval. So what if I could have an AI voice agent call for me? Well, for me as a human to make this call, I would need the details about the patient and the procedure so that I could answer any questions that come up on the call that the insurance provider might ask me. And the same goes for an AI agent. So because all of these details are already available in my ontology, I can easily inject these as context into my agent before putting them on the phone. So you can see how I can plug the context into a first message in a system prompt where I task the agent to return me an authorization number and the approved date range. So let's give it a try. Another ambitious live demo. So in practice, you could trigger these off automatically, but for the sake of the demo, I'll kick it manually. When I click this button, the AI agent will call on behalf of the hospital, and I will play the role of the insurance provider. Let's trigger the call. See, my phone is ringing for proof. This is live. Sorry.
Hello, I'm calling to obtain prior authorization for patient Anna Grant with member number 5678 for
Sorry.
CPT code 82465. Could you please provide me with an authorization status and a range of authorized dates for the patient?
I'm going to make him repeat that. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you please repeat that?
Hello, I am calling to obtain prior authorization for patient Anna Grant with member number 5678 for CPT code 82465. Could you please provide me with an authorization status and a range of authorized dates for the patient's procedure?
Sure, but can you first confirm the procedure name and the scheduled date?
The procedure is a cholesterol test, and the scheduled date is March 2, 2025.
Got it. Okay, cool. And can you also confirm why this procedure is medically necessary?
Anna Grant requires prior authorization for a cholesterol test due to her physician's concern about her elevated cholesterol levels, which could increase her risk for cardiovascular diseases.
Got it. Okay, it looks like I can authorize this procedure, and the authorization number is 1237890, and the approved date range is March 2nd through March 5th.
Thank you.
Are you going to hang up now?
Yes, thank you for your time.
Let's go. It worked. Good. So throughout the call, you can see that the agent had the right amount of information to effectively answer my questions, and it did obtain the authorization number. So at this time, we're waiting for ElevenLabs to process and return us a transcript, which hopefully comes here in a few seconds. Usually only takes a second. Maybe? Yes, okay. So now you can see that the procedure has moved over to the ready column in my dashboard on the right-hand side over here. And we can see that we were able to extract the authorization number, as I told it, 123, and then the approved date range is here as well. And so this is actually extracted from the raw text transcript that we get back from ElevenLabs as soon as the call completes. In addition to these details that we're extracting, we're also running some evals on the transcript to determine whether the user was happy and whether the agent was able to answer all of the user's questions on the call. We can use these evals to continually improve our agent's performance over time, and so that we can make sure we're providing the right details and make sure we're refining our prompt appropriately. And so in the case where the agent isn't able to obtain prior authorization, we can have the agent provide a summary of the next steps that a human would need to take in order to get this done. So my Zoom is a little weird, but in this case, it looks like the patient's information was not found in the system. And in this case, it looks like they want us to send a full authorization packet to their office email address. And so the other important thing here is that for these failures, we're also writing these back into our ontology. That way we can continually identify the most common issues that come up to make sure we're not missing important details that the agent will need while on the phone. So I've shown you sort of our hospital operations. You've seen how effective the voice agent can be on the call. And I've also shown you how we can close the loop in both the success and failure cases by writing back into our ontology. So let's take a look now under the hood at how we built this. So when I click this call button in Foundry, it actually triggers an action, which is backed by a TypeScript function. And in here, you'll see that I have this automated call object that I use to track the state of the ongoing call, especially as the events are happening on the Twilio side with the call state changing. And in here, you can see I also have a couple of webhooks that allow me to make sort of outbound calls to the Twilio REST API to do this call orchestration, and also the ElevenLabs REST API to inject our first message and system prompt as context into our agent. We also need to hit the REST API at the end once the call is over to fetch the conversation details, the transcript, and any evals. If we pop over to my ElevenLabs dashboard, hopefully you can see this, you'll see that my agent is connected directly to a Twilio phone number. This is like a two-step process, super easy to set up, and it also unlocks all the inbound call use cases. So like if you wanted to have an AI customer support agent on the phone, they just call this number and it works. For our case, we have a little bit of a more complex setup because we need to make an outbound call to the insurance provider. And so at a high level, the way we tackled this was with Twilio conference calls. And so the way that we're doing this is we can make an outbound call to both the AI agent and the insurance provider at the same time, and then put them on the same line. And kind of the thing that's beautiful about this is that Twilio can manage the state of the call for us. ElevenLabs can manage the website connection and the audio stream for the voice model. And then all we have to do in Foundry is provide the context and tools ahead of time that the agent will need on the call, and then write the details from the transcript and also store the raw transcript in our ontology after the fact. So sort of to round it out, let's take a look at the architecture as visualized in my workflow builder graph. Hopefully you can see this as well. You can see how my workshop module is connected to my actions and my objects in my ontology. And so when I click that button, triggers this action, create conference call. We write through to our external systems to like update the agent configuration and make sure we're dialing the Twilio phone number correctly. You can also see that this automated call is kind of the source of truth for everything that's happening. And so when something happens on the Twilio side, like if the user answers the phone, that will actually funnel through to our Ontology SDK that we've set up, because Ontology SDK allows us to expose a sort of set of endpoints or sort of endpoints that we can call through to actions to handle the conference status changes to make sure that our automated call objects are in sync. The transcript is also written back to this automated call object so that we can trigger any downstream workflows that we might want to with Automate. So in this case, I have maybe another action. This might be to notify the patient that the procedure was confirmed, or perhaps I want to do some more processing on that transcript in AIP logic, where I have all the context from my ontology. So with this, you can see how with just a few hundred lines of code and the power of Foundry's ontology, that we can deploy an AI agent to streamline hospital operations. These agents are unlocking all new types of workflows and all new levels of efficiency, so I'm super excited about it. And I will hand it back to Alex to talk through how we can bring this technology to other industries.
Thanks. And so if you'd like to go back to the slides, just to finish on. So what we've seen today is we've seen how voice agents are being used in hospital operations to simplify that information exchange between insurance providers and healthcare providers. I also showed you a demonstration of how it can be used in a customer support use case, for users to self-serve, get information about products. We're seeing loads of applications for voice agents in kind of almost every field. And so to give some examples, some further examples, learning and development. So imagine if every year, instead of doing your cybersecurity refresher training as a slideshow that you walk through and then the 5 multiple choice questions at the end, it's actually somebody that interacts with you and talks to you about kind of some of the interesting topics and can help you learn in a better way, or personalized tutors for studies. We're seeing it in promotional and kind of advertising and marketing use cases. So imagine instead of watching a trailer for your film, you could actually go to the website and speak to the main protagonist. And someone's generated that by just cloning the main protagonist's voice and uploading the script as a knowledge base or part of the script as a knowledge base, and actually you can have a much more interactive experience. Video games is another kind of clear entertainment space. And in kind of other enterprise use cases, the use cases are kind of unbounded. So sales agents, every single one of our kind of account execs at ElevenLabs has a virtual version of themselves to do scheduling. And so when they speak to a customer, they send a follow-up link saying, if you enjoyed the conversation, let's keep chatting, here's virtual me. And that person is connected, that agent is connected to their calendar to input schedule follow-up appointments and calls. Looking even at the demos we saw earlier today, imagine if instead of having to send the email to Matt's automated flow, actually you could just ring that same LLM that's powering the automated emails, you get an immediate response from somebody that sounds like Matt saying, hey, these are the numbers as I can see them, and I'm going to send you an email follow-up with a link to go and check the information. I'm really excited that everybody here has probably got a load of ideas as to how this might be useful, and to ensure that you'll get a chance to play with it. As a part of the builder sessions later over the course of the 2 days, everybody here is going to be able to access ElevenLabs with a free subscription for the next 3 months. And so we're giving everybody around $70 worth of credits to play with, to build over the next 2 days, and to build ongoing after the future. And so there's information will be available on the Foundry stack as to how you can get access to that. And we set up a template so that you can get running with that, building with ElevenLabs and Palantir Foundry very, very quickly by just downloading from one of our the community resources. So really excited to see what you guys build. I'm going to be on hand, or we're all going to be on hand to kind of help with any of the setup and integration with ElevenLabs and with voice as a modality from Foundry. And excited to see what everybody builds. Thank you very much.